Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of the Late the W podcast. As always, I'm your host, Mahal. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe, leave a 5-star review, all of that fantastic jazz. If it's your first time joining, make sure you follow on social media at Late the W pod on all of that. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, we're active on all of those. So without further ado, let's sound the horn and get into this episode.
The pitch from Acevedo.
Swung on and line down the left field line for a base hit. Fly ball, gap, right center field. And
Double him up at second.
Luke is going back to the 1-8 track. Get out the right, run and bust it, grandma. It is grand salami time.
And will send Seattle to the American League Championship Series for the first time in 24 years.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Light the W podcast. Small Domingo Anderson with you for episode 145 of the show. And the Seattle Mariners have dropped 2 straight games and dropped another series, this time to the hands of the Sacramento Oakland Athletics. They will forever be the Oakland Athletics to me. But that's not the point of today's episode. Today we're going to be talking about what's happened so far this series. We're going to be talking about all kinds of stuff around this team, and specifically I want to look at this bullpen, and I want to look at the defensive stuff for this team. And let's just start defensively. Before I get into why I'm going to bring this up, I'm just going to tell you all outs above average stuff for this Mariners team. Now let me change this a little bit. Okay, so for the Seattle Mariners, among their defensive players, in terms of outs above average, the Mariners do not have a player currently that is above average. Meaning they don't have a player in outs above average that is at 1 or higher. That includes Leo Rivas. That includes Rob Refsnyder, Connor Joe. That includes Julio Rodriguez, Cole Young, Victor Robles, Connor Joe, J.P. Crawford, Josh Naylor, Randy Rosareno, Luke Raley, Brendan Donovan. Worst of the bunch, J.P. Crawford and Brendan Donovan, and that's not good when those two guys are right next to each other on the left side of your infield. Right? And that's been a huge problem for this Mariners team so far. Last episode, I talked about Jose Ferrer, and I talked about the numbers he has in terms of ERA and in terms of FIP. Look, he had a clean inning, kind of, a scoreless inning, just yesterday on Monday. Now, look, he gave up base runners, he loaded the bases, but he had a clean inning. I talked about his FIP. I talked about his ERA. I'm talking about his xERA. Because, look, guys aren't hitting the ball hard against him. Nobody's barreling it up. He's not walking guys. But his strikeout rate is low, and his ground ball rate is low, which means it's a lot of bloops, it's a lot of fly balls, whether they're hard hit or more commonly, they are weak. In terms of his contact against him, okay? He is a guy that historically has gotten a lot of ground balls. Last year, 64% ground ball rate. This year, it's at 40%. Air rate this year is at 60%. Among those, 31% fly ball rate. That is more than each of the last 2 years combined. And a lot of those are going to the opposite field, which means guys are late. And for left-handed hitters facing Ferrer, they are slapping the ball to, you guessed it, the left side of the infield, which is Brandon Donovan at -4 outs above average, -2 defensive runs saved. And JP Crawford, -3 outs above average, -2 defensive runs saved. Well, if the Mariners had a corner outfielder that was solid, okay, maybe you could make up for it a little bit. But Randy Arozarena, -1 outs above average. He's played left field the entire year thus far for this Mariners team. Played all 213 and a third innings this season. Him, Cole Young, Julio Rodriguez, the only guys that have played every inning of baseball this year for this Mariners baseball team. And even Julio Rodriguez been below average, but that's not the point of this. We're talking about the left side specifically of this defensive team, and it's causing issues. And look, I look at it and I'm like, okay, if Ferrer's pounding sinkers and sliders away to left-handed hitters, and they're not going to be on time with it, let's not shift, right? Why are we shifting to the right side when pretty much all contact against him right now is going to the opposite field? It's going to the left side. Leave your guys there. Now, look, I'm not an analytics guy. I'm not in the Mariners front office. I'm not writing this script. And in fact, today, I'm not here to hate on Dan Wilson. Because, look, I don't know how much he controls. I don't know who's controlling some of this decision making. I don't know if it's pre-planned, if it's not. Some of it needs to change. They need to burn some of this script in hell. But that's not what this is about. I want to talk purely about roster construction right now. And it's not good enough. Let me go look at the Mariners' top relievers. And I want to look at strikeout rate. We already talked about Jose Ferrer being a guy that's not gotten a lot of strikeouts this year. He's in the 17th percentile, 16% under. Gabe Spires in the 61st percentile, 25% strikeout rate. Andres Munoz. Let me pull up his Savant page. Has gotten strikeout 36.8%. Okay, there's something good. How about Matt Brash? Under 20% strikeout rate this year. And same thing, it's not been a ton of ground balls. It's similar to what Ferrer's done. He's gotten hit a little bit harder than you expect from him. How about Edward Bizardo? 42nd percentile in strikeout rate, 21%. If you're not making what I'm getting at here, the Mariners bullpen is not made of a bunch of guys that are going to go strike you out. It is made up of a bunch of guys that can go get outs, but it is going to partially rely on your defense being able to get some of those outs. And it's going to rely on some good batting average on balls in play luck. Okay? Let's go look at relief pitchers for this Mariners team so far this year. And I want to go look purely at BABIP. Okay? Jose Ferrer, we already talked about this last episode. That BABIP, 429. If you don't know, that's the batting average on balls in play. When it is above 400, guys are getting a little bit lucky. Andres Munoz, 389. Gabe Spire, 304. And none of these guys are giving up super hard contact. If you want to look at a discrepancy between their ERA and their FIP, Andres Munoz has the largest discrepancy. 7.88 ERA, 3.13 FIP. Gabe Spire, his ERA is better than his FIP. Brash as well. Bizardo as well. Ferrer's has gotten closer together. 2.24 FIP. It's gotten a little bit larger. He walked a couple guys yesterday. Hit a guy by a pitch. Those are going to make that FIP go up. ERA of 3. Ultimately, my point here is the Mariners bullpen needs this team to play good defense, and they need some luck when the ball is put in play because they are not going to get the overwhelming strikeout numbers that you expect guys to get. This is not a bullpen that is even going to get their strikeout numbers to get to the 80% or whatever Mason Miller is at this point. The ball's going to be put in play. And it's not going to be the pitcher's fault a lot of this time. It's not necessarily anybody's fault. But there are flaws, in my opinion, in the way that this roster is built right now. On top of that, let's continue with the bullpen. There are holes in this bullpen. Beyond just those 7, 8th, and 9th inning guys of Spire, Brash, and Munoz. You then have your next level, the Ferrers and the Bizardos. After that, the drop-off is immense. They are lacking another guy that can go and pitch in the middle innings and potentially pitch in the back end of innings. Can go pitch in the 7th and the 8th. If he's not going to pitch the 9th, but they need a guy that can go pitch in the 5th or the 6th. That's not Cole Wilcox, Cooper Criswell, formerly Casey Legumina, and now Alex Hoppe. Now, Cole Wilcox has shown some promise. Alex Hoppe has really interesting stuff and could be something interesting. But it's not guaranteed. And until guys from the pile break out like you expect them to at some point during this year, you're going to have issues in this bullpen. I want you to go back 12 months. And I want you to think about last year at this time. What did the Mariners bullpen look like? It was Andres Munoz. And what else? We knew Matt Brash was coming back sometime early in the year. We didn't really know what Gabe Spire was going to be. We hoped he was going to be good. What else was there? Unless I'm totally blanking on someone. This team needs another legit guy. But they also just need a couple guys that can pitch in March, April, and May and fill and pitch solid innings to be able to keep close games close and give your team a shot to win. When sometimes you're not going to have your best guys available. After game 1, I talked about momentum being a huge thing in baseball, whether you believe in momentum or not. Winning 2 games in a row against a division rival in Texas and then dropping game 1 the way you did to Oakland, I'm not going to stop calling them that, that hurts the morale of this clubhouse, of this team, whether they're going to admit it or not. You have a little bit momentum, a little bit of it built. Feeling a little bit positive about your team. You're like, all right, here we go. Now we're finding a little bit of our groove. Okay, here comes the bullpen. Hwah! Momentum gone. Positive vibes gone. All the fun you had for 2 days gone. Like that. With Casey Legumina. Throwing meatballs. And look, ultimately, your 4th and 5th starters right now, you can't feel confident about them getting 6 quality innings every start. That means you're going to have a guy fill the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings 2 days in a row. How are you supposed to win 3 games in a row if you're playing close games? When the last 2, you need 4 good guys to pitch 2 days in a row. When you only have 4, maybe 5 guys you trust in that scenario at all? Maybe? And really only 3. Really, it's only Spire, Brash, and Munoz. They can't pitch 3 days in a row. How do you win 3 games in a row? You need more back there. There's a flaw there. You could have gone and gotten Danny Coulomb, who went to Boston. Now, what are his numbers? I don't actually even know. Danny Coulomb. Let's look what his numbers are this year. 3.18 ERA this year. That seems solid. Seems like that's pretty much what you would want in the middle of your bullpen right about now. Does it not? You could have gotten Paul Sewald. You telling me Paul Sewald wouldn't want to come home to the Seattle Mariners at 35 years old, and he wouldn't have been a decent arm in the middle of your... You didn't need him to be a closer. Yet he's gone to Arizona, already has 7 saves, a 2.16 ERA. Now, maybe he didn't want to come back, and that's a different story. But these are the type of names and guys that I'm talking about. Take a flyer on a guy that's 34, 35, 36 years old that's been good a couple years in a row and see if he can carry that over into a pitcher's ballpark, a pitcher's organization in the Seattle Mariners in T-Mobile Park. That changes your bullpen. That changes how many games you win between opening day and the middle end of May. If the Mariners had Paul Sewald right now, he's putting up similar numbers to what he's doing in Arizona. How many more wins would they have? I think they probably would have won Monday night. That's 1. Would they have won against San Diego that one game? Maybe. I think you could pretty much chalk up 2 wins more, just in terms of that one bullpen move. And look, ultimately, you need your guys to be your guys as well. You need Matt Brash, Gabe Spire, Edward Brizardo, Jose Ferrer. Did I say all of them? Andres Munoz, to be the guys you expect them to be throughout this season. But Edward Brizardo has been great. He's coming off a season last year, which was a breakout year. He threw a ton of innings, 78 and 2/3 innings last year. He only threw 27 and 2/3 innings in the majors in 2024. You can't just work him until his arm and elbow literally snap. He can't go and pitch 3 out of 4 days and 5 out of 7 days in a week. And that's just being realistic. If he does that for the entire season, he's going to be cooked by the All-Star break, if not earlier. Now, look, this is off-season mistakes. These aren't things that you can really make a change with right now, and now you're hoping an Alex Hoppe breaks out, or maybe you bring in Josver Zulueta from Tacoma, or Robinson Ortiz, and one of them figures it out, and maybe Cole Wilcox takes another step forward, and he starts to figure out a little bit more. But until you get another guy, and you have 6 guys you feel pretty solid about, this bullpen feels like it's lacking. It feels like it's missing stuff. And I can already tell you, when we get until the middle or end of June, when I'm starting to think about the deadline, bullpen arms are going to be top of my list. Last season, I talked about how Mariners just needed to add a bunch of bullpen arms. That would have made this team a lot better. Would you have rather them having gone and gotten 2 mid bullpen arms? Would you rather have gone and gotten Danny Coulomb at the deadline last year? How would that have changed what this team looked like? How would that have changed the postseason for this team? The Mariners feel like they're scared sometimes to make marginal moves in their bullpen. When I look at it, I'm like, that's what I want to see you do. I want you to make some marginal moves in the bullpen and put your bigger moves into the offense. Now, look, do they need big moves in the bullpen too? And do I wish they had gotten Juan Duran last deadline for whatever they were going to pay? Oh boy, do I. I really do. And I will always wonder what that package was going to be because they thought they had him. We can dream. But how do you bounce back off that? They were like, let's go get Caleb Ferguson. Okay, well, if you're getting Caleb Ferguson, you needed another arm. You needed 2 Caleb Fergusons. Not that Caleb Ferguson was great, but you needed another guy that could be sort of in that similar tier. And Caleb Ferguson, another guy that would have been interesting, I think, to bring back this year. Not that he was great last year, but he could have been an interesting piece that you're like, well, let's see if he's got anything left in the tank. Maybe he doesn't, maybe he does. And if he does, adds value to this bullpen. But right now, you're relying on guys that you've seen for now, 16 months? Aren't it? 13 months, aren't it? Carlos Vargas wasn't it. Casey Legumina, he wasn't it. Has Cooper Criswell been it? No, but he's like your guy that can go fill 3 innings or 2 innings. Part of the reason he's on this roster is because he didn't have any options left. Well, now they're starting to get rid of some of those guys. Legumina, they're like, all right, you're done. All right, we're bringing in some of these pile guys. Well, we're in week 3 now of the season? Week 4? You got to start fucking winning some baseball games. Got to start winning some baseball games. You're a game and a half better than the freaking Houston Astros right now. Have you seen the mess that they are? Now, look, some of this is that stuff just isn't really going together right now. Like it's like I talked about in the offseason, the Mets, it just felt like, how are these pieces going to fit? Right now, it's like none of these pieces for the Mariners are fitting together. The bullpen, the rotation, the lineup, they're not fitting together in multiple games in a row to be able to win games. They have each of their games, and the rotation's been really solid overall. So specifically talk about the bullpen and the lineup. They each have their games. And it's like, okay, here we go. Now we're building something. And then one of them falls apart. Or both of them fall apart. Leave a bunch of runners in scoring position. Can't cash in. And then here comes the bullpen. And oh boy, you give up a run in the bottom half or the top half of the 7th. And you're like, all right, we got 9 outs to work with here. We got 9 outs. Well, okay, really you have 6 outs because then you're going to give Cooper Criswell, Cole Wilcox the 9th. So you really got 6 outs to sort of figure this out, see if we can score a couple runs, take the lead, then we can go use the Munozes of the world. You got to keep these games a little closer. Bizzardo gave up a run tonight. Like, I think Spire, gave up a run tonight as well. It's just like, we needed those clean innings right there to give this team a shot. And look, the Athletics offense, it's a really good offense. But I need this bullpen to be able to get them out. I need them to be able to get freaking anybody out. I don't care what offense, what lineup you're facing. I need this bullpen to be able to go and get out, have clean innings, whether it's 1, 2, 3, whether you let a walk-on or a weak single in, you're like, okay, let's work around that. We're good. You need close games. And part of this is bullpen management. Part of this is the defense. And part of this is just the construction of this bullpen, construction of this team. Now, look, I think this bullpen's going to be good. I think this bullpen's going to figure it out. I think Ferrer's going to be better than he was. I really do believe these advanced numbers are going to show that he is better than he's been so far. I'm worried about Bizzardo over the course of the entire season. I'm excited about Alex Hoppe. Munoz is going to be fine. Brash, I think, will be able to get some more strikeouts. Spire is going to be fine. But to me, really, right now, this bullpen's relying on Ferrer and Bizzardo to be good. And if one or both of them is not really, really good and a high-leverage guy or high-leverage guys, bullpen's going to have issues. And even as it is, if you have all 5 of those guys going right, this bullpen still feels like it's lacking some pieces, still missing some guys. So look, I'm excited for the season. I'm excited for the rest of this year. I'm excited next week to be able to do a 1 month recap on the season and be able to see where this Mariners team rests at the end of April. But I would really like to be talking to you on Thursday with Jeff about a win on Wednesday from this Mariners team. About them taking advantage of a favorable pitching matchup. And then we're like, okay, we're going on the road. We struggled on the road. And then I would really like to talk to you Sunday night and be able to say the Mariners won a series in St. Louis. I would love for nothing more than that to happen. Will it happen? Who knows? It's baseball at the end of the day. And we're getting some of these, oh, what's wrong with this team sort of stuff out now. That happens. That's all right. But we got to figure it out. And there's some construction things with this team where it's like, I don't know. Is this going to sort itself out? All questions that will remain to be seen. Answers that I don't know when we're going to know. Maybe it's going to be the end of October until we really know. Hopefully, we make it that long. But for episode 145, that's it. Thank you for joining me. Again, me, Jeff, Thursday, out Friday morning, talking about this Mariners Ball Club. Thank you for joining me on episode 145 of the Light the W podcast. Peace. Go Eps.